If you're experiencing a sexless marriage or relationship and it's weighing on you and you're feeling lonely and undesired, I first want you to know that you are important, you are attractive, and you are worthy of love. But I know being in this position is not easy. Maybe it feels like every time you talk to your partner about it, the problem gets worse. Or maybe even the idea of bringing it up fills you with dread. There's hope, I promise. Despite how stuck you might feel right now, there are steps you can take to move through this and reframe your mindset about your current sexual relationship. Here's a disclaimer. No, this video is not about teaching you how to get more sex from your partner. It's about better understanding your situation and making peace with it so that you can stop feeling so disappointed all the time. Remember, a lack of sex doesn't always mean a lack of love. Believe it or not, a sexless relationship can still thrive if you handle it the right way. Today, I'm going to show you 4 specific, proven strategies, from mindset shifts to specific scripts you can use with your partner to help you cope and maybe even thrive in a sexless relationship. Before we dive in, I'm Allie, a licensed marriage and family therapist and head of relationships at Paired, the couples app that keeps your relationship fresh. Check it out in the description. If you're in a sexless marriage or relationship, the first thing you should know is that you're absolutely not alone. According to a 2018 survey, as many as 30% of couples are in a sexless or low sex relationship. But what does sexless even mean? Well, there isn't a scientific definition of what sexless means. For some people, once a month is sexless. Other people haven't had sex in years. In general, if you feel like you're not having enough sex, that's a valid enough reason to try to cope with the problem. This is hard stuff. The most important thing to know is that you deserve to have a fulfilling sex life, and so does your partner. To land somewhere in the middle, it's going to mean that both of you adjust your expectations and have a lot of vulnerable conversations. So here are 4 strategies for you to unlock deeper honesty with your partner so you can both start living in alignment with your needs. Let's dive in. First, look at the puzzle from 10 steps away. The first question to ask yourself is, what's going on in your relationship holistically outside of a lack of sex? When you spend a lot of time overemphasizing one missing piece in a puzzle, you can lose sight of how many beautiful things you share. Often, when we're missing a piece of a puzzle, all we can do is focus on it. We hyper-fixate on it when it's not there. But if you take 10 steps back, you might barely notice that it's missing. Really check yourself. Are you hyper-fixating on that one aspect of your relationship? I don't share this to minimize how you're feeling. I know it hurts and it's confusing and it's not what you signed up for. And choosing to focus your mind and heart on the aspects of the relationship that are going well can help you make peace with the pieces that are missing. You might also wonder, is more sex always better? Not always. A 2015 study showed that relationship satisfaction for couples increased with more sex only up to once a week. After that, more sex didn't mean more relationship satisfaction. Of course, everyone is different and every couple is different, but it just goes to show sex is not the only factor in a happy relationship. So your exercise here is to create a relationship inventory. Write it all down. What are all the great things your relationship has to offer? Think about it. Are you emotionally close with your partner? How often do you have meaningful conversations? Do you touch in non-sexual ways? Do you enjoy being physically close and spending time together? Are you affectionate with each other? Do you laugh together and really listen to each other when you're sharing? Try to be really generous because it's easy to fixate on the negative. Getting a holistic view can help relieve pressure on the issue of sex. And if you answered no to the questions above, there's your homework. If there's not a baseline of emotional intimacy and friendship, lack of sex may be a symptom, not the problem. Work on increasing your connection as people and you'll feel more satisfied, seen, and loved in your relationship. Second, get aligned on how you see your sex life. This might seem obvious, but it's not always, so ask yourself. Does your partner know you want to have more sex, and do they understand why? The natural follow-up is, do they know where you stand about your sex life? Having sex once a month might be a nightmare scenario for you, but for your partner, maybe that's a lot. What's important is that you and your partner are on the same page, and that you understand how you're both viewing the situation. If you haven't gotten clear on each other's expectations, one of you might not even realize that there's a problem. 2 things to keep in mind. Having more sex at the beginning of a relationship is common and normal. If you've experienced major life changes like parenthood or physical health conditions, it might not be fair to compare your sex life now to before the change. So what does your ideal sex life look like right now? Here's your exercise. Create a shared timeline of your sex life. No need to get out a whiteboard and markers, it can be casual. Start by sharing, what were some of your favorite moments in our sex life? What did you love about those times? How does our current sex life feel to you? What relationship events impacted our sex life and how? Be careful not to assign any blame. This can help you reconnect with what made intimacy exciting before and help you see your sexual relationship with more perspective. You may not have realized that changes in sexual compatibility were due to external factors or because of the other highs and lows in your relationship. But once you step back and see the situation through a wider lens, you'll better understand why you are where you are. Understanding leads to empathy and acceptance rather than blaming each other. If you're not ready to bring this up to your partner, you can still complete this exercise on your own. Third, don't fall in the healthy sex drive trap. This is a big one. It's really easy to get caught up in shaming yourself for wanting too much sex. In some cases, maybe your partner has told you you're gross or selfish for wanting sex. That can cut deep. On the other hand, maybe you've told your partner that they're too cold for not wanting enough sex. Maybe you've decided that they're the problem, and if they really loved you, they'd have sex with you. All of these trains of thoughts are dangerous. It's really easy to fall in the trap of one of you having a healthy sex drive. But there's no clinical definition of healthy sex drive. In reality, it's okay to love sex, and it's also okay to not like it that much. Maybe your partner has made you feel guilty for wanting more sex. It's okay to want to have sex with your partner. It's a good thing. It's a gift. It means you're alive. Here's your exercise. Try to start noticing any judgmental thoughts you or your partner are having about the situation. This could look like, my high sex drive is a problem, or they're totally uptight and frigid. Things you say out loud or things you just think. You can keep track of them with a note in your phone or even jot them down in a notebook. Becoming aware of these judgments is the first step in framing them into something more constructive. After you've written down those thoughts, write a more neutral, less judgmental thought next to each one. For example, my high sex drive is a problem turns into, I'm struggling with feelings of rejection. They're so uptight turns into, they feel disconnected, which makes it really hard to open up physically. When you've reframed your judgmental thoughts, you start to have more empathy and more patience for yourself and for your partner. In turn, this opens your mind up to alternate solutions that you hadn't considered before and helps you find ways to meet deeper needs that a sexless relationship is really just a symptom of. Fourth, expand your definition of sex. Sometimes the traditional script of what sex should look like in a relationship doesn't fit your current reality, and that's okay. If one partner is uninterested or unable to be sexually active, and you otherwise have a loving, connected relationship, it might be time to think outside the box. This doesn't mean betraying your partner or immediately considering an open relationship. It means having an honest, respectful conversation about how sexual needs can be acknowledged and expressed, even if they're not met through traditional intercourse or partnered sex. For example, you might talk about your mutual understanding about self-pleasure. What's okay? What feels private versus what could you share or talk about more openly? Sensual connection that doesn't lead to sex. Massage, skin-to-skin cuddling, or showering together. Sometimes expanding intimacy builds closeness even if it's not sexual. Scheduling intimate time about touch, warmth, or shared fantasies without pressure. Expanding your erotic imagination. This could include reading, writing, or listening to erotica. This might be a solo activity, or it could spark conversations about desire. Working with a sex therapist to explore ways to reconnect or reimagine intimacy together. The point is, you and your partner get to define what works for you and for your relationship. There's nothing shameful about seeking closeness and pleasure. You're allowed to have those needs, and you're also allowed to talk about it without it being a threat to the relationship. Here's a sample script you could use to open the door to this kind of conversation. I've been thinking about how important our connection is to me, and I want us to keep growing together. I also know that intimacy looks different for every couple, and I wonder if we could talk about what it could look like for us, even if it's not traditional. Fifth, if your needs aren't met, it's okay to leave. Remember, if sex is a non-negotiable for you, if it's a core part of how you feel loved, connected, and alive, this is in fact a valid reason to end a relationship. People end relationships for all sorts of reasons. Different parenting styles, lifestyle disagreements. All these reasons are nuanced and personal, and having mismatched sexual preferences is a valid reason too. I'm not saying the grass will definitely be greener on the other side. You might have amazing sex in a new relationship, but terrible communication. So don't end the relationship because you think the next one will automatically be better. It might not. But if you've tried and your needs are still not being met, it's okay to want more. Take a few minutes and write down all the things you value most in a relationship. Rank them in order of highest priority to lowest. Seeing where sex falls on this list will help you clarify if ending the relationship is worth consideration. I'm rooting for your relationship, but I want you to know that you don't have to feel like a bad person because you want to have more passion, more romance, and to feel more alive sexually. even if that means ending it. All right, so before we wrap up, let's go over the biggest takeaways one more time. If you only remember 5 things from this video, let them be these. To address your sexless relationship, you can use these strategies. Get on the same page by mapping your sex life together. Ditch the shame. There's no right amount of sex. Zoom out and create a holistic view of your relationship beyond the missing puzzle piece. Expand your definition of sex to include options that might work for both of you. And if nothing changes, it's okay to walk away. If this feels really hard, it's because it is. But you're not alone, and you are worthy of love and the sex you desire. Have you been in a sexless relationship? What does that look like for you? Let me know in the comments. What worked? What didn't? Let's make this a judgment-free zone where people can share their experiences. Whatever path you take, you deserve to feel fulfilled in your relationship. Remember, this is a journey, not a dead end. If this video gave you hope or insight, let it be the start of something new. The Paired app gives you practical tips and fun interactive ways to strengthen your relationship every day. Try it. Link is in the description. So that's just about it for today's video. Hit the like button, subscribe for more relationship insights, and I'll see you in the next one.